going to get started on our 1-sheet pan salmon and roasted vegetables extravaganza. I am quite literally going through the refrigerator and cleaning it out with the large number of vegetables that I have. But I'm starting with 2 portions of salmon fillets. I put these in the refrigerator overnight last night to start thawing. They are skin on and they are boneless. These are ready to go. I weighed these out. This is 2 portions. About 5 minutes before the end of the cooking cycle, I am going to add sardines. These are very, very high in omega-3s. They are excellent for lowering inflammation in the body, and I am trying really hard to have an anti-inflammation diet. And this recipe is absolutely as anti-inflammatory as I can get. So in this bowl, I have filled it with water and I put in a splash of vinegar, and I am soaking most of my vegetables. So this kind of tray bake thing, if that's what you want to call it, is a really good way to not waste any money, to not waste any produce. It's gentler on the earth. It's just across the board, it is kinder to have as little waste in your kitchen as you can. What I want to go for is to have all the pieces of the same vegetables be approximately the same size, because you want them to cook evenly. I'm just going to whack off the top and the bottom, and then all I'm going to do with these is I'm going to cut every one of them in half, because I want them to have some of the inside surface area touching the heat so that they will cook all the way through. If you cook them whole like this, you're gonna be cooking forever for the middle of these to get done. Look at all that vibrant color that is coming to life here. This is going to be so healthy. I'm gonna shave off any parts that have any brown on them because, you know, yuck. We don't want that in our food. Brown food tastes good, but not because it's gone bad. Brown food tastes good because it has browned in oil and butter and tastes delicious. All right, I'm gonna do essentially the same thing to the broccoli that I did to the cauliflower. I'm just gonna come in to the top part and I'm gonna cut off the little trees. I'm getting the trees away from the trunk. So I'm gonna cut all of these off. I didn't even take the rubber band off. I just thought that would be easier to maneuver. And then I'm going to move the stalks to the side, and I'm going to go through and get the ones that naturally separated and go ahead and throw them in my bowl. The ones that didn't, I'm just going to come in and cut off the part of the stem that separated, and that means they will naturally separate themselves. So now I have a giant bowl of healthiness. I have broccoli, cauliflower, radishes, peppers. Oh, I gotta get an onion. I have so many things in here. Look at the colors of how pretty this is. I had an onion, and I'm gonna go ahead and put some of it in here. It was a yellow onion, and kind of like some of my other vegetables, as I have already said a couple of times, this is a refrigerator and pantry clean out to use things before they go bad. All right, on to the next step. So what I have in this prep bowl is about a teaspoon of salt, about a half a teaspoon of black pepper, and about a tablespoon of this root vegetable and fry seasoning that I got at TJ Maxx. I decided at the last minute to add some garlic because you can never go wrong with adding some garlic. So I'm gonna do about half a teaspoon of garlic as well. I'm gonna give that a quick little mixer. It's very pretty. I like how this is looking so far. And then I am going to add, I think I'm going to need a lot of olive oil to cover this many vegetables. And I'd rather err on the side of caution. So I'm going to do maybe 4 or so tablespoons of a good olive oil. There's no right or wrong here. One of the reasons I love this recipe so much is that there's literally no right way to do it or wrong way to do it. These are the vegetables I had in my refrigerator. If you have different vegetables in your refrigerator, use them. If you don't like one of these, don't put it in here. If there's a vegetable I don't have that you love, throw it on there. If this is all Brussels sprouts, go for all Brussels sprouts. This is about getting more healthy vegetables into our diet that are anti-inflammatory, low in carbs, and healthy, healthy, healthy. I went with this particular mixing of vegetables, again, because I was cleaning out the fridge, but also because I wanted that rainbow effect. The more vibrant and colorful your vegetables are, the healthier I think that they're going to be. You can use any kind of vegetables you want. You can use any kind of oil you want. You could use coconut oil. You could use avocado. I'm going with olive because I am trying to follow more of a Mediterranean style diet. So I'm just trying to incorporate olive oil as much as I can. I don't usually use olive oil on the stove top because it has a low smoke point, but I like to use it in the oven because it doesn't have that problem for me as much in the oven as it does on the stove. This pan is going in my oven. I'm preheated to 400 degrees. I'm gonna let it cook for 15 minutes and then see how we're looking. So again, this is 2 servings of an Alaskan wild-caught sockeye salmon, skin on boneless filet. I have refrigerated them overnight to thaw them out. I had to soak them in water for a little while because they were still a little bit frozen in the middle. So I just keep these in the freezer and I plan ahead a little bit. And the night before ooh, that one's going to be generous. The night before I just thaw them out. So I am going to season the salmon with a little bit of salt, always, because salt makes everything taste better. And I am going to do just the tiniest bit of garlic. I just want a light little dusting of garlic. And then I'm going to add a little bit of black pepper. I'm not going to go too fancy on the salmon. And then I'm going to turn it over. And I'm going to do the same thing on the skin side. And I'm going to kind of catch that olive oil because it'll slide pretty fast. And I don't want to waste it. So I'm just getting a good coating of the olive oil. I am getting a good sprinkling of salt, a good sprinkling of black pepper, and a little tiny dusting of garlic. All right, that is what I'm going to do to the salmon. And it is also what I am going to do to the sardines. So I'm just gonna shake them out on the board and I'm gonna separate them. They're very, very delicate. So I'm gonna use this hand and I'm just gonna do the same. I'm gonna season them just like I did the salmon. I'm gonna treat them the same. So salt, pepper, a hint of garlic. As we are back, I went 15 minutes on the vegetables. I took them out of the oven, gave them a quick little toss, put them back in for 10 minutes. So they've been cooking for a total of 25 minutes at 400 degrees. We're gonna get them out. This is looking amazing. So you can see that they're starting to really get some char on them, especially the broccoli. So I am gonna add in both of my pieces of salmon. I'm gonna put them skin side down because I wanna get the skin good and crispy, crunchy. So I want them to have some contact with the grill. Well, with the baking rack. And I'm just gonna put those flat down. We're gonna put this back in the oven after I get the olive oil off my hands for about 10 minutes, and we're gonna check the salmon and see if it's done. And I think what I'm gonna do with the sardines is, I guess I could just take the rack completely out, but since they're definitely gonna fall through, I'm just gonna make a little pouch for them with some aluminum foil. So while we are waiting for everything in the oven to finish cooking, I'm gonna do 2 things that I think will really complete the dish and give it that wow factor that I'm looking for. In my tiny little skillet, I have 12 cashews. The reason I have 12 is that is 1/8 of a cup of cashews. So a 1/4 cup, which is the serving size on my bag, is 6 carbs. So 1/8 of a cup, which is 2 tablespoons, is 3 carbs. And I'm just gonna toast these very lightly, and then I'm gonna give them a rough chop and sprinkle them over my serving of this dish. It is worth it to me to have the crunch and the taste because I love cashews. It's one of my favorite nuts. These are roasted and salted already, so they are just delicious. They're good and fresh. They have a great taste. I have stored them in my handy dandy Ello vacuum seal container, which I love. So I'm gonna toast these off just very, very lightly. I am going to grab a good handful of my parsley and give it a quick chop so that it's ready to sprinkle over the top. And I've got my butter out so that when everything is ready, I'm gonna put a little pat of butter on both pieces of salmon and the sardines. and just let that butter melt while I am getting everything plated. So that'll give it a little extra luxury, and it gives it a little bit of extra fat. I love this Kerrygold butter. It is so good, and it'll just give it a little bit more flavor. We are all about more flavor. The vegetables have now been in for about 35 minutes, and the salmon has been in for about 10. The salmon is not ready yet. So salmon is ready when you put a fork in it and it easily flakes, and I can feel that that's still got some resistance to it. So I am going to turn the salmon over very gently and move it a little bit more to the side. I am loving how crispy and crunchy these are getting. I'm going to put it back in for a few more minutes. Move this a little bit more to the side and give me a little bit more room. I'm going to pop my little makeshift container, my pouch, if you will, for my sardines, which are not nearly as fishy smelling as I thought they would be. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I'm going to put it back in for about 3 minutes and see where I am on the fish. So I have put these cashews on the stovetop in a dry skillet for about 2 minutes on medium heat. You can't really tell anything in the way they look that they're toasted, but they smell really good and they're nice and hot. So I am going to put them out on my cutting board, and I'm going to give these just a quick, very rough chop. I'm really just making sure I don't have any whole ones, but I do like the bigger pieces. So I'm going to have my nuts. I've got a little bit of parsley. This is my condiments to go on the side. My timer has gone off, so we are ready to take everything out, and I hope at least, that everything is done. Now, ideally, if you are cooking salmon or fish, any kind of fish, you would have a thermometer and you would check it and make sure that it gets to an internal temperature of 145 degrees. I do not have a meat thermometer, so I'm just going to go with the flake test, which cracks me up. So the flake test is, like I said before, you just put your fork in it and you see if it flakes easily. I'm going to turn these back over. Oh gosh, they look delicious. And it smells really good. And you can see, even when I did that, it kind of fell apart right there, which is, I think, a very, very good sign. So let's see. Yeah, see how that just flakes really easily? Ooh, look, that piece is about to fall. Oh, ooh, that's delicious. Yum. I'm gonna do the happy dance. I'm gonna try the sardine too. And yes, I know I just used the fork and ate it and I'm putting it back in there, but I live alone. I'm the only one eating this. Okay, here goes. Oh, you know what? I don't hate it. I am gonna grab my knife here and I'm gonna do just a little pat of butter inside the the sardines, excuse me. And I'm going to do a little pat of butter on each of my pieces of salmon. I'm actually going to pop it back in the oven and get that good and melted. And that is my dish. I don't love the way the sardines look just kind of laying there on the top, but the whole thing looks pretty tasty. So let's see. You can see how that's flaking. You can get a better view, I think. Look how flaky that is. That's what you want. I'm going to taste it. Oh, doing the happy dance. That's very, very good. And then let me get a nut and see if I can get just a mix of vegetables. So I've got in this particular bite, I've got an onion, a little bit of nut, some asparagus, and a piece of broccoli. Ooh. Oh yeah. The vegetables have dried out in that good way that roasting does for them. They've got a little bit of brown, a little bit of caramelization on the outside. The olive oil has really gotten that nuttiness brought out in it. That's really, really good. I am going to try, to wrap up our video, a radish, because this is supposed to taste like a potato. I'm skeptical. Yeah. I'm not skeptical anymore because I was right. It doesn't taste at all like a potato. It tastes like a radish. The thing is, I don't mind radishes, so I'm not mad that it tastes like a radish. So this is my delicious, nutritious, anti-inflammatory, really healthy, low carb, variety of color, beautiful dish. So I have plenty to eat for dinner tonight, and I have plenty of leftovers. So I'll have enough for a good serving of veggies and a piece of salmon, and then I'll have maybe even enough vegetables for 2 servings after that. So I think I'll be able to get 4 servings for myself out of this. I am so glad that you joined me at Whole Healthy Soul. I hope you'll consider subscribing and look for really great content that is focused on healthy eating, low inflammation, feeling good, making the best choices, and living our best life, because we always want to make choices we can live with. Until later, everyone. Bye-bye.